You're on a Spanish island looking so pristine, it looks photoshopped. And just a ferry away, Ibiza's partying like there's no tomorrow.
Formentera is Ibiza's laid-back cousin that would rather watch sunsets than go club hopping.
We're spilling day trip secrets, hidden coves, and answering the big question. Is serenity worth risking Ibiza's FOMO?
I know we've all seen videos of people literally passed out in Ibiza airports recovering, but Fed, let me tell you, a lot of my clients in meetings have been mentioning Formentera.
And here's what people aren't understanding. Formentera is not just a day trip from Ibiza. I know people think about the Spanish islands as being super close together, but saying Formentera is a day trip from Ibiza is like saying Montauk is a day trip from the Hamptons. It doesn't really make sense.
And have you been spending your summers at an overcrowded beach, you can't find a chair, there are no towels in sight, and all of your pictures look the same as everyone else? I think this episode may be for you.
The problem with most of these Mediterranean getaways these days is that they've been commercialized to death. We've been Mykonos'd to death, Santorini to death, Saint-Tropez to death, Ibiza to death. And not only are these not just the only Mediterranean islands, but you're going to be spending thousands on a trip just for it to look like everyone else.
And the thing is, people who do visit, they really miss what's special about it. They just hop on a ferry, grab lunch, and then go back to Ibiza.
And let me tell you, as somebody who's been to the Mediterranean for a really long time, I feel like Formentera is the answer to a lot of like luxury travelers who've been craving that exclusivity, but like not pretentious exclusivity, not like Saint-Tropez. You want natural beauty. You don't want it to be overdeveloped. You don't want it to be, giving Greek islands in August where it's crowded and you can't walk through the path at any time in the day without it being crowded. You want a scene that feels a little bit more intimate, less overrun.
And by the end of this episode, you'll know why Formentera is the spot to go and why 2025 is the perfect time to go.
So let's get into this tea because, why is Formentera suddenly just having a moment right now? I feel like it's on every luxury traveler's radar. Every list is saying that Formentera is the place to be this summer. What's going on?
I think people are changing their minds about what luxury means.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes with luxury, you think of a certain price attached to it. Luxury to people now is just feeling secluded, in the best way possible, not being overcrowded. And I think that's what Formentera is offering people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Ibiza's still the party capital. You know that you're going to go there and party and get the best DJs. You're going to be out till the wee hours of the morning having a time. But a lot of people who are spending lots of money are in that luxury travel category, want peace, not crowds. They're coming to the Mediterranean for blue water, the Mediterranean lifestyle, but they don't want all that chaos that Ibiza brings and has become famous for almost.
And I think it's beyond chaotic. It's just it really wipes out the convenience of it all and it being a trip. And I even hear some stories of bumping into people, back at home especially during peak season, because I think that's where everyone is going.
Yeah.
And for some reason before this boom, it was really attractive and a lot of artists would go for inspiration.
Yeah.
I think people are taking from that of, if they're going for inspiration, there must be a natural sense of beauty there or something to pull from. Let me check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ibiza, we all know the clubs are getting packed. The prices are out of control. Getting a reservation is pretty much impossible anytime during peak season in the summer. And Formentera is it's giving privacy. It's giving better beaches, a little bit more exclusive. There's definitely a way bigger, like yacht heavy scene there. It's like what the Mediterranean was 30 years ago before mass tourism. And I think that's what is garnering that appeal, is like people are looking for that off the beaten path. They still want luxury. They still want to, go to Europe on their summer vacation and have that Mediterranean getaway. But nobody's trying to be in a packed club at 3 a.m. Well, not everybody is trying to have that experience. No, listen, Ibiza's still that girl. We're just saying Formentera's her cool, her cool cousin that, if you know, like that's my cousin that's really cool and has her own vibe. And that's what we're saying Formentera is giving.
Right. Just less bling, more chic, more laid back. I think a lot of times, especially when they're used to that certain lifestyle, the bling of it all, the loudness of luxury at times can be too much, and people just want to step back from it. And a lot of people say in this situation, it's luxury that whispers, it doesn't shout, where no one's showing off their latest fit or what they have. It's more just, I want to lay back. I'm paying a lot for this experience, so my wallets are fat, but I kind of just want to remove myself from that lifestyle for a bit.
No, totally. Formentera is like where you're going to escape being seen, but you're still getting that Mediterranean magic. You're still getting that luxury lifestyle. But I think one of the biggest things, because like a lot of people still, it's coming up. Like Formentera is definitely, her name is definitely ringing in people's ears right now.
They know her.
Yeah, they know her. They know her. I don't know who that man is.
I don't know who that
we
man
know who she is. But I think a lot of people get really stuck when they're planning their Mediterranean getaway, where they're like, okay, I want to go here, but there's Ibiza, there's Majorca, there's Menorca, and now you have Formentera in the mix. It's like, how do you pick, which island do I go to? Because you can go to all of them, but I mean, how much time do you have? And it's also about what vibe are you looking for?
Right.
They're all stunning. They're all going to give you that blue water, the beachy Mediterranean vibe. But I think it really does depend on your energy, the type of traveler, the type of trip that you're trying to have, which island, I think, which Spanish island you should go to. I think that's a really important part of who should actually be going to Formentera.
I think also because it is so close to Ibiza, maybe it gets the second spot than the other islands because you can't fly there directly. No airport, y'all. So you kind of have to figure out where to go from there, because it's so close. That may be people's second choice.
Definitely. And I feel like because Ibiza is so party central, like high energy, world famous DJs, packed beach clubs. Like, I mean, you want to be dancing until sunrise, Ibiza's paradise for you. But Formentera has the same stunning beaches. It's more intimate, more exclusive. It's giving like quiet luxury energy. And it's where, if you've outgrown the party scene or you still want to party, don't get me wrong. Like the girls still want to have fun, but maybe they don't want to be where the fun is 24/7. I think Formentera is a good option because you can take the ferry to Ibiza. It's not like it's impossible to get there. You have to go to Ibiza to get to Formentera anyway because there's no airport. You have to take a ferry in. I think that's the place where if you have one night where there's a DJ in Ibiza that you really want to see, you can go for that. But your landing spot, your home base is Formentera if you kind of outgrown the party scene and you want more of that laid back vibe.
And also it also gets a lot of comparison to the Caribbean and the beaches. What's your take on it?
Formentera, the beaches is like really where Formentera shines. Like Ibiza's beaches are beautiful, but they're crowded and like it's really hard to get that like nice Instagram shot where you have hundreds, if not thousands of people behind you. I mean, some of the beaches in Formentera, I'm not even going to butcher these names. Like we'll put them in the show notes for you guys. But the water clarity literally rivals the Caribbean in terms of like blue crystal clear waters, and it's because of the less overcrowding and because of it hasn't been like overdeveloped with that mass tourism. You're not getting that cloudy, murky water that you're going to get in Ibiza or Majorca because, again, it's quiet luxury. It's a little toned down and you have more of like a yachting community, a more high-end community. So they're definitely just more pristine and well-kept and they're not overrun, I think. So that's that comparison that you're getting with the Caribbean where it's still clear, it's still conserved, it's not overrun.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you mentioned that because I think Formentera, in a way that other countries may not because of tourism and the money that comes from it. They are standing on business. They want to make sure that their environment stays clean and they don't let tourism take over. I mean, when I'm with my clients and I'm making sure they know of the tourism rules, I'm like, wow, like literally no beach vendors. They control the amount of cars that are there, especially during peak months. Like there's no way you're getting a car. Only locals. But if you're not a local,
don't
not.
even think about it.
And I think that's amazing because a lot of countries, unfortunately, have had to bend the rules to make money. But they're able to still keep quiet luxury, still have tourists season after season, but make sure their environment stays clean.
And I think the most important part about that is that because you're getting that kind of high-end clientele, but very much if you know vibes, like they know and they want that destination to remain pure and untouched because that's what they love about it, right? It's rare. Nowadays in the Mediterranean, everything is just party, 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 high end, high energy, over tourism, overcrowded. And people are going to Formentera, are going there because of what it has to offer. And so they're also invested in it remaining that way and remaining pure. And so you won't find people really complaining about not being able to get a car or having limits put on how many ferries can come in and out or how many entrances they let people in on the beaches. Like they're controlling all that to keep and maintain the reputation they've earned. And I think it's so beautiful that a lot of people still come back because that's what they love about it.
And they respect it.
Exactly.
So if there are no cars, and especially in peak season, they do not bend the rules at all. How can people get around?
You're going to have to rent a scooter or a bike, baby. It's giving 2 wheels. Okay. There are taxis, but again, this isn't a large island, so you're not calling a Uber or a Lyft. There are local taxis, but again, it can get pretty expensive. People really just get around pretty much by motorized scooter or bikes. But I feel like we should do a quick breakdown of the Spanish islands so people can really visualize where Formentera fits in.
Yeah, so with Ibiza, what we were saying before, definitely high energy nightlife, mega clubs, not just a regular club, but a mega club.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have Mallorca, which is more quiet, nature focused, and very family friendly. And that's another thing to consider. I would say Formentera is family friendly, but because you do have people that are coming over day by day from Ibiza, maybe you want to consider going elsewhere if you do have multiple children with you.
Yeah. Formentera is very boho chic. You're not going to get those high rises and all of that, I would say. What about Mallorca?
So I would say overall, the historical charm is really what makes it different from everywhere else. And it's a bit more developed. So when we were talking about before the pure natural beauty, it's still there. But with more development, that will end... not pollution, but it will have an effect on the beaches and other natural resources there. Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people always forget Mallorca's sister Menorca, which is another Spanish island. That's definitely way more quiet, way more nature focused, very family friendly. You will find actually a ton of German speakers in those two sister islands, Mallorca and Menorca. A lot of Europeans obviously love to go there, but it's definitely on the quieter side, way more family friendly. I think Formentera is like the perfect middle ground because you can get to those other places and enjoy them, but it's still that high end, boho chic, untouched, I think that's really the vibe. And I feel like here's a pro tip, I think, is do Ibiza, but stay in Formentera. And I think one extra pro tip I want to give people is that, so the ferries don't run 24/7, y'all. So if you think you're going to go to the club in Ibiza and catch that last ferry back, baby.
It's not happening overnight.
Yeah. You might need to get a place overnight, just a quick little B&B or maybe if you could find a hostel or book a hotel room for one night just to lay your head when you get back from the club at 4 a.m. and then be able to catch the first ferry back. But either you're staying out all night or
you're not going.
You might have to, I don't know, you might be sleeping outside.
We don't want anyone stuck at the port, just crying and then makeup running all over the place at 5 a.m. when you can just stay overnight, wake up maybe 7, 8 and catch the first ferry back. It's not worth it. And you don't want to look crazy out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think before we dive into the upgrade lists and telling people where they should stay and what they should do, I feel like it's really important to understand like the cost of everything, what's really going on in Spain right now, especially with the over tourism. I know some of y'all have seen in Barcelona and in Spain, the locals are like protesting and being really mean to tourists because like they're like, we've had enough, we're full. So I think it's really important to talk about some of the sustainable tourism pushes and some of the regulations that Spain is coming out with in order to combat that.
Yeah, so it's definitely additional costs. More for like sustaining their beaches overall. I also know with different rental properties, there's also additional costs. Just trying to balance and control who's coming in and out overall. I think it's really respecting the locals. I think also for people who are interested in property out there, looking at the different regulations and how it may be different if you live in the United States or you live in the United Kingdom, how it could differ if you're a local there overall. Definitely. But what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, Formentera is doing what a lot of these European cities have been doing from Venice to Barcelona, where they're really just putting caps on, you know, how many ferry tickets. They're limiting ferry tickets. They're limiting hotel capacity. You need advanced reservations. Like this is all just becoming way more essential. They're limiting short-term rentals. Ultimately, they've seen what's been happening in these other markets and they want to preserve their island. The island has such a beautiful ecosystem. There are people who live there full time. It's not just a vacation destination for elites and, you know, Spanish billionaires. So they don't want it to become to a point where it's overrun like some of these other islands. So just keep that in mind. A lot of these things may come off as inconveniences like, oh, all these places are booked up or, oh, there's only, you know, I wasn't able to get a ferry ticket at this time. The limits are there to maintain the tourism in a sustainable way. And I honestly think more destinations should do that because instead of just letting it get overrun like some of these other places have where you almost don't want to it's too late. Yeah, you don't want to go anymore because it's just annoying. It's not even fun.
Yeah.
They're like, we want y'all to come. It's not that we don't want y'all to come, but let's do it in a way that makes sense, that's sustainable. And that sustainability, I think, makes Formentera even more of a draw because they're doing it in a way that will preserve the destination for years to come before it turns into some of the other islands that we know of that just get overcrowded. And it's not even fun anymore. It's just a waste of money because they're all expensive.
And that's what could potentially happen to Ibiza after a few years. And I think also as people's partying habits change, I think we go through changes from generation to generation or just depending on how the economy is doing. Some people, the more money that they make, the more celebrating they want to do, the more partying they do. But if that may change over the years, people may want to just resort to more of a laid back, quiet luxury. But I give kudos to Formentera because they're finding a beautiful balance. There are still billionaires coming in and building developments, rather that be residential or hotel properties, but they're just doing it in a regulated way.
Yeah.
And I really think other countries need to take notes because we don't want all of the places that we go for an escape to then be ruined. Because then where are we going to go?
Exactly. We just have to find new places to ruin. Right. And the earth is but so big, you know, it's not unlimited. We only have this one little planet.
We need to help our mother nature, okay? And I really hope other countries are taking notes and seeing how they can have tourism be under control.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about currency and cost because, you know, Formentera is a Spanish island, and so they do use the euro. They're in the Eurozone, and the euro's been relatively stable against the dollar, but Formentera's prices are rising actually faster than inflation. So again, it's no secret. Inflation is inflationing everywhere. Prices are rising, but a lot of these influencers and these people who are snapping their flicks are not going to tell you that these hotel prices are on par with like what you would experience in a Saint-Tropez or Capri. I know the Italians are going to kill me for that. It's not Capri, it's Capri. And some of these other Mediterranean islands, like or destinations in Italy and France, where they're known for their expensive prices. Formentera is right up there. You know, a casual beachside lunch can run you 100 euros a person. So just keep that in mind and understand that the local economy is really held up by tourism. There's so much going on there. And the prices do reflect that because ultimately, like, the tourism is how these people live. And so it's very important to understand what the prices are looking like. Because if you're going to Formentera thinking that you're going to get it off the beaten path
because it's low key.
No,
that's not the case. It's, what did we say before? Quiet luxury.
Yeah,
so
it's still luxury.
It's still a price point of luxury. Just no bling. And what's another thing that's very interesting is the local economy. Did you know that they have salt production like right on the ground?
Yeah.
Which is probably another reason of why they want to reserve their natural resources and their beaches, because a lot of places tourism is the main one, and I feel like they put all of their attention on it and forget everything else.
Definitely.
But again, another kudos to them for still having a sustainable farming environment.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
so important.
I think the sustainable farming part is such an incredible part of Formentera that I think some of the other islands do miss out on, because you still get that those farm to table restaurants where
Which are amazing.
I know, the dining, you're getting the emphasis on the local produce, the local seafood. They're not importing as many ingredients. So when you're there, you're really getting that local cuisine that you sometimes in these more over commercialized locations, you know, it's McDonald's, it's Wendy's, it's KFC. You're seeing all the same things.
We're crying in the States. Help us, please.
You're seeing all the same restaurants that you would see anywhere else. And it's almost because it's just over commercialized. You don't really get that local feel of the cuisine. You feel like you went to Ibiza, but you had an experience that you could have had almost. I hate when I go somewhere and I feel like the experience I had, I could have been plopped anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I've seen
and
this.
It's almost the same. You can't really tell it apart.
Yeah, no, that's the worst feeling in the world, especially when you're paying a certain amount or you have a high expectations because of different reviews or TikTok videos that you've seen. So that's really important. And more to the farm to table dining, they say they have amazing seafood that's like preserved in salt, which brings so much more flavor. Look, I don't really like salt on things, but I know they're going to do it right, so I trust it.
Oh yeah, they're professional.
Yeah, no, they know what they're doing. And they also have organic wines. Oof, imagine that by the beach.
Don't even get me started. I love that. I mean, Spanish wines are to die for, and I just love trying the more like off the beaten path Spanish islands, because a lot of the way that they grow their wine is also different than some of the mainland Spain wine, and they come with a different flavor profile too. Like, I really recommend people really try the local Mediterranean islands wines. They definitely taste a bit different than what you'll get from mainland Spain, and it's just a unique part. Again, you want to go somewhere. I always say, if you're traveling, you're going there to see a new place, experience a new way of life, and ultimately come back cultured, knowing something different. And I think one last thing about the local situation in Formentera, there is a language barrier, y'all.
And not what you think. But get into it.
Listen, I was floored. So if you think your high school Spanish, your little sí, no, like como estás is gonna get you anywhere.
I love it though, but it's not gonna work.
Like, babes, this ain't the Spanish y'all thought. This is not the Spanish that you learned in high school. This is not the Spanish that's on Duolingo. They speak Catalan there, which is the same language that they speak actually in Barcelona and the that part of Spain, the region of Spain where Barcelona is, Valencia is, they speak Catalan there. In Formentera, they also speak Catalan, which is not Spanish. So if you think you're going to go with your little 1-2 key phrases in Spanish and get around, it is a totally different language. And that language, and it's also a dialect too. So they speak Catalan, but they speak their own local dialect of it. And so, you know, you need to learn definitely a few key phrases in Catalan rather than Spanish. So
hi, how are you?
Exactly.
Help. How much?
We'll share some key phrases in our show notes, but it's just important to know. I think a lot of people, when they hear Spain, they're like, oh, they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
There's so many different languages that are spoken in Spain by region. It's not just the standard Spanish that we all think, you know, that we all know. So be aware of that when you go, because if you're a fluent Spanish speaker, that's not going to get you that far.
Yeah. And you don't want to be surprised once you land and someone's speaking to you and you're like, I'm not sure what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I need to know.
Me.
Yeah.
It was not fun. I was struggling. So definitely get up on your ones and twos with Catalan. But I feel like now we can now that we've given them the real tea, I feel like we can get into the upgrade list and tell them how to really experience Formentera like a VIP.
So it may be small, but it has areas that are custom for everyone, depending if you want more boutique or you want to stay more with like a hotel franchise. There's both.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Definitely. I think that knowing which side of the island to stay on that's right for you is so important because it's really going to shape your whole experience, especially like we said, there's no Uber, and cars are incredibly limited and it's pretty much locals that drive around. So knowing where you're staying and that it fits the vibe that you're looking for from your trip is really important because otherwise you're biking and scooting. So it's not
You don't want to be biking and scooting too far now.
Exactly, in heels and your dress. No, let's keep it real with them really quick. So if you're looking for chic boutique hotels, authentic local restaurants, or you're planning a longer stay, I would say the San Francisco area or the Saint Ferran area is definitely where you're gonna go for that chic boutique feel. And then the busier part of the island, I would say, where there's more nightlife, it's definitely great for younger travelers or people who still want the vibrancy of being in the center, the convenience of being where there's nightlife and not being too far from it. The Es Pujals area is where you're gonna find more of the nightlife.
And then there's also Fed is better at pronouncing things than I am. God, so let's try to do this together.
This isn't even Spanish, y'all. This isn't even no. This is okay. Don't come for us, y'all.
We're gonna Platja de Minjon? That's what, Girl. Please rip me to shreds. Make me better, okay? I have tough skin, I promise. But this is an area that offers quiet and wild, I wonder what the wild part, wild beaches, but also hippie chic, where I imagine barefoot, like you're just your free self, your truest self, which I think that's why creatives thrive here, because there's just no pretending. You are definitely 100% true.
Yeah. And then we have the La Savina area, which is where the yachts dock. So if you want to experience Formentera by yacht, so if you want to rent a yacht and have it and charter it for the time that you're there to experience the whole island, that'll be where you dock. And then I think that's the best one, I think, for day trippers or anyone who's having a luxury stay on a yacht and they want easy access to everything. That's where I would say keep those things in mind when you're deciding where you want to stay on the island because it's really going to shape the experience you have.
And then we can switch over to our villas. So there's also sections where it's dedicated to villas, depending if you're on a group trip or you just want something that's more to the side, low key. So we have Cantress, which is a village of private villas. And again, this is perfect for just low key luxury travelers. And imagine, we already mentioned the public beaches that are just absolutely gorgeous. Imagine having your own private access to it, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I think the other thing to bring up about Formentera that it's a little bit different than some other places is that a lot of the best villas, you're not going to find them on booking.com or Airbnb. A lot of them you're going to find through personal connections or specialized agencies, which is really why planning your trip through a travel advisor is so important because a lot of the best places are gatekept for the sake of the island and for the sake of the locals. And so having somebody that has those connections, that knows who to go to, where they are, and can make those connections for you and give you some of those better villa options that you won't be able to Google, that's definitely something to note. So if you feel like you're online and you're trying to find somewhere to stay and it looks like there's not much.
It's not a match.
They're not online.
Yeah. Another thing that I think advisors have the beauty of doing is a lot of people go on vacation and they imagine what their niches or what they like to do or what their limits are. But I think because advisors, we have the experience from past clients that they thought they wanted to do this, they got there, they wanted to do something different. We can help shape your experience, if that makes sense, and pull from the insights that we have where you're not just going based off TikTok videos, Google reviews, like you have someone experienced that have had past clients that have already been through it, made their mistakes, still enjoyed their time, and you can go from there.
Definitely. I think that's so important too, because a lot of the times, and I think with the whole TikTok ban and everything that was happening around that, people started freaking out like, oh my God, how am I going to plan my trip? But something I've noticed is it almost like what I found my experience being on social media recently has like, I'm just overwhelmed with everything, and everything just starts looking the same because we're all drawing inspiration from the same videos. Yeah. If you look up Formentera on TikTok or Instagram, you're seeing all the places that people went and everybody's looking at the same thing, so everybody's going. Yeah. So you're really only getting the same 2 or 3 experiences because that's what everybody's posting, and all of a sudden all the trips look the same. Yeah. It doesn't feel like you took your own trip. You kind of just recreated somebody else's trip and took your own pictures, versus going through a travel advisor where we're actually tailoring the trip for what you want, what best suits you. If you love yoga, we're going to find you the best yoga class in Formentera. If you love wine, we're going to plan a wine trip, day trip for you. If you want to see how the local salt is produced, we're going to send you to a salt mill so you could see what that's like. But again, we're tailoring that trip to exactly what you want, versus just going based off what's all over social media and then just having the same trip as everybody. I feel like we're all over that. Like I'm over consumed by this.
I think that's a beautiful middle ground of like advisors have the extra knowledge and put in the effort to find out like the small details of everything. And I also think lifetime content just on social media in general, it's very diverse. Like you'll see people, of course, living all different types of lifestyles. Travel content is a bit different where I feel like people go towards what they think the views and likes will come in. Which so they're doing things that everyone else is doing. Exactly. So you don't have like a full variety of what a country or place could offer. And that's where advisors come in.
Definitely. It's so important. But I want to give them like, where are the cool locals and the cool kids hanging out? We want to give you things like that are insider tips instead of just, again, what's all over social media. I think for beach clubs, what's good right now is there's one called Juan y Andrea. It's kind of expensive, but it's iconic, honestly. Like, you're going to see celebrities like dining barefoot in the sand. I think Shea Gardy also offers a chill, more stylish vibe, but the beach club vibes there are great. I love beach clubs. I'm a beach club fan.
I love beach clubs.
I love roasting in the sun, dipping in the water with a glass of rosé and some French fries. Like, that to me.
My first experience was in Canada. And I think that just set the bar. So now whenever I go somewhere, I need to experience the beach club. Will it hit that mark? I don't know, but I need to experience it.
Okay, what about the sunset drinks?
So at the Sunset Drinks, there's a place that's called Pirata Bus. That sounds really fun. What is that? So basically, this is where a lot of locals go. Like, you want to go where the locals go, or at least where they recommend you to go. So you can go daytime, what we mentioned before, for like feet in the sand, French fries, but then you can also head to that spot for sunset drinks.
Yeah, I definitely think like the Mediterranean, I don't know, like sunsets, I am just obsessed with sunsets. I don't know who wins the award for best sunsets, but Mediterranean sunsets have such a place in my heart. I find them just so stunning, and there's just nothing like having a drink in hand and just watching the sunset.
So why do you think Mediterranean sunsets are queen?
I think in the summer, so here's the thing, like in the Caribbean, the summertime is hurricane season. So a lot of the islands in the Caribbean are kind of out because, it's cloudy, raining, it's cloudy. That's not when you want to go. And then there are other destinations like the Middle East where they also have access to the Mediterranean Sea, but it's hot.
Yeah, so it's different.
It's not really.
It's not a cool breeze like you're.
Like it's really, really hot. And I think for the summertime, like I just think of Greece, Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, of just watching the sunset, it being bearable, like just being able to be outside and not be roasting, and the sun hitting the Mediterranean Sea, like just nothing hits. Like if you know, comment if you know what we're talking about, because I just think Mediterranean sunsets are
I have 5 more months. I'm going to report back once I experience it, and I'll let Fed know.
Oh man, it's so, so good. I think we talked about how to get around, but I feel like it's really important to really kind of stress that, because the transportation is, I think, one of the biggest shocks.
Yeah, and there's no leeway. I feel like people go to places, they're like, oh yeah, no cars, I'm going to figure it out. Or you go to your advisor and you're like, make it happen. I don't know how to ride a bike, so maybe another client will come and say, I don't know how to ride a bike. What do I do? I don't want to ride a scooter. No, that's the main way of getting around. So I think you just want to make sure that all the spots that you want to see are close within each other. Make sure you have comfortable shoes. You're going to get a good leg day and it's beautiful. At least that on your walk, it's absolutely gorgeous, but there are no cars.
And the island is built for that, right? So it's not like there's no cars and it's not really accessible because it's such a small island. Like they have the bike paths. It's the infrastructure is there for the scooters and that type of mode of transportation because they limit the cars there. So just make sure you plan ahead. The taxis are expensive and they're limited. Same that goes in some destinations as well. It's not unique to Formentera. So just plan ahead if you need private transportation during high season. You don't want to be waiting around for hours even for a taxi if you don't book it in advance. Like it's just not going to be fun and it's going to ruin your experience. And when you're paying that much money to go somewhere so beautiful, you don't want to have your experience ruined because you didn't plan ahead and you thought that you could just open your Uber app.
Right. And for some, if you have your bags and you do need a ferry back to Ibiza to leave, this is when you would work with an advisor to arrange your private transport.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think it's like we should give them like what's worth it and what's overrated. I feel like that's good.
That's super smart. So I will definitely say what is worth it. I've heard a lot about this place. They're calling it the Caribbean of Europe. And I was like, what exactly does that mean? And that would be the Seis Elites. And a pro tip is sunset is the best from Fed's tip. What I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think some of the beaches are nude. Is that so? Maybe prepare for that. Just
listen.
Just don't
in
be
Europe,
surprised.
Don't be surprised if you see some yiddies.
Just don't be surprised. Just giving you a heads up. But that's a tip that I've personally heard about it a lot. I know some of my clients that go and come back. That's all they talk about. So you definitely want to add that to your itinerary.
Definitely. Sunset at the Cap de Barbaria Lighthouse. I mean, it's just breathtaking. That lighthouse, I just look up the flicks if you don't believe me. It's so stunning. You have seafood at Chiosco Santi, which is a hidden beachside gem. So definitely check that out. I mean, you're on the Mediterranean. The seafood is out of this world. Definitely have it. It's called Chiosco Santi. Definitely check it out. And then, of course, for a beach club vibe, you can go to Beso Beach, have a day there at Beso Beach. It's really, really nice. Now, what's overrated? What should they skip?
Expensive Ibiza club nights, honestly. That's what we're saying we're overrated. And not because of the club experience. I mean, it's going to be one in a lifetime club experience, but because it's so overcrowded and we've heard about it a ton of times. Pro tip, what I'm hearing, a lot of people who would traditionally go to Ibiza are now going to Malta. So that's another option. If you're tired of Ibiza, you think you've seen enough of it through videos on TikTok, maybe try Malta.
Yeah, definitely.
What else do they say is overrated?
I want to just the Ibiza style club nights are so funny to me because it's like, if you want that, just go to Ibiza. You know what I mean? Like, why come to Formentera to have a Ibiza style club night experience?
It's not going to be the same.
It's not the same. Like, just go to Ibiza for one night if you want that experience and enjoy Formentera for what it actually has to offer, that chill atmosphere. Like, she's that girl for a reason. Don't try to make her into something she's not. Also, the midday beach crowds, like, it can get a lot. It's not as bad as Ibiza or some of the other places like your Mykonos'd or your Santorini, but go early, get that nice early tan. You know, the sun's just starting to get hot around, 9, 10, 11. During the midday, it gets packed, especially because a lot of day trippers from Ibiza will come around like that noon to 4 o'clock time frame where they'll catch the ferry over and enjoy Formentera. So it can get crowded. Again, it's not as crowded as the other islands, but if you don't want to be around that vibe, definitely maybe try to go earlier in the day or later to catch the sunset. I think that'll kind of help you avoid some of the midday Ibiza flow over that's coming, and then obviously making sure you pick the right area to stay in.
And you're following our insider tips, of course.
Definitely.
And you're listening to what the locals are saying. I mean, I know a lot of people are shy. I'm not. Like, I will go to the nearest bar, beach club, ask the staff there, or other people that have been there multiple times, where should I go? Where should I avoid? So your advisor, of course, of course, TikTok, whatever inspiration, or Instagram, whatever inspiration you're getting, but really paying attention to what the locals are recommending.
Yeah, the best recommendations are going to come from the people who know what's going on.
The bad and the good side. I feel like social media only shows you the good side,
Absolutely.
right?
The locals are going to tell you the bad, the good, and everything in between. I feel like some pro travel hacks that'll help you also just have a better trip is like, in my opinion, again, my humble opinion, the Mediterranean, even in an off the beaten path location, high season, that July, August months, they're going to be packed. So I honestly think some of these islands are better experienced in May or June and even September, because when you go outside of those peak summer months, first of all, you're still getting the weather, right? If you're in the Mediterranean. So
it doesn't change that much.
Yeah, it's
right?
not going to change. May, June, it's already hot. It's already giving summertime weather. And people, their kids are still in school. People don't have, their they're not going on their summer vacation trips yet. And in the local economy too, like it's still kind of still working season. Kids are still in school. I think that catching it in May or June, or just right after that high peak in early September, like people always go on vacation like for Labor Day, but even if you can catch it right after Labor Day, once all the vacationers have left, and it's just a little bit more chill, because honestly, at that time, that's when you'll actually get more of the local crowd anyway. The Spanish people who are, or
you'll see their day-to-day life,
right? The Portuguese people, the Spanish people, the other Europeans, they know the vibe, so they'll actually be there, and you'll see even a different side or a different style or vibe to the island than
going there on the weekend.
Definitely
book your ferries ahead of time. One, because of the price point. Two, especially if you're going during those peak months, it's going to be hard to reserve. So definitely reserve ahead of time with your advisor.
Yeah, because those last minute tickets get expensive.
Very
if
expensive.
They're even available. So just plan ahead. And then I think the biggest thing is try to arrive in the middle of the week, maybe come on like a Tuesday, just so you can experience the island during the week before the weekend comes. Not that there's anything wrong with the weekend, but again, you're going to get that Ibiza spillover from all the people coming from Ibiza to try to experience Formentera for a day or two. And so giving yourself some time to enjoy it during the week before the weekend would definitely help, because then by the weekend, you've already seen some of the things. You've experienced the nice beaches and those key spots that you want to see, and they're just a little bit less crowded, I would say. Definitely. Okay, so do you want to get into the most Googled questions about Formentera?
I definitely will. So one is it worth the day trip? And again, after this episode, what do y'all think the answer is? But what do you think?
It's definitely yes, go for a day trip, but please just stay overnight. I think a day trip, it gives you a taste, but you just miss the magic of Formentera if you just go for a day. You want to experience the evenings, you want to see the sunsets, you want to feel the sunrise, experience the morning. So yes, go for a day trip, but really Formentera is meant to really be experienced. I think it can stand alone as its own vacation spot for sure.
Agreed. Can you drink the tap water?
It's not recommended. Bottled water is pretty much the norm, so I would say definitely stick to bottled there.
And then last question, is Formentera family friendly?
Definitely. I think the shallow, calm beaches, they're perfect for kids. It has a laid back atmosphere that's good
welcoming.
It's good for families. Make sure you book a kid friendly accommodations. I will say not all of the accommodations are kid friendly. If you want to come with a family or younger children, definitely just make sure that the accommodations you're picking, whether it's a hotel, that they have kind of some programming for kids, or just have some areas that are for families. That's the only thing I'll say. But overall, I would definitely say Formentera. You can bring a family.
If you have family with you, maybe really consider a midweek trip. Because I think in the weekend, you're not saying they're going to be like unruly or drunk in Formentera, but I think just avoiding that crowd and really enjoying the experience, especially with your children.
Definitely. Awesome. I think Formentera is just a mood. It's a lifestyle. If you do it right, it really is one of the best Mediterranean getaways out there.
And we definitely shared where to stay based on your personal style. I think also just knowing that it's a wonderful hub for creatives is just absolutely amazing. I'm sure the art scene is absolutely stunning out there. Like we mentioned before, we will have all of our recommendations in our show notes. And yeah.
If you're seriously considering Formentera, we want to help you make it happen, because we truly stand by the fact that this is the year. 2025 is the year to go to Formentera before it really like gets overrun. As luxury travel advisors, we specialize in creating customized experiences, so we're gonna give you the insider access to places like Formentera. We have the relationships with the hotels, the villa owners. We know the local experiences that you just can't book online. So we're really here to help you. And I think that through our show notes, and if you want to reach out to us personally, it will really set you on the right path.
Yeah, and it's having a moment. It won't be over. Now it's the time to go. And imagine going and everything's already taken care of. This is something that an advisor could do. So definitely add to your list.
Yeah, we'd love to help you experience that. Until next time.
Bye.